Okay guys, I want to share with you a few tips if you are new to Uber Eats or about to start driving for Uber Eats. I want to show you some things that I've done and to my car and my setup so that you can give you a few ideas for yourself. Anyway, here's the inside of my car, and I usually put this towel down to protect the seat just in case of spills, and to also you can bundle up the towel towards this end to give it, when you lay things down, like maybe a pizza box, has a flat ride if you want it to ride on your seat for that ride. Of course, now we have to deal with Corona, so we got the face mask here. In the back, I got the alcohol sanitizer and pack of towels to wipe down the inside of my car. And in the back here, I also got another set of cup holders for if I need a third set. I got two up front that I use for carrying drinks. Right here, these two work pretty good for all sizes. Even the tall cups come up close to my cell phone rig here, but it still works pretty good. Highly recommend getting something like WeatherTech or some floor mats that will be completely isolated if you spill a big drink. The last thing you want to do is be making minimal amount of money, and all of a sudden you have $100 cleaning bill and a crappy sticky carpet after you spill a bunch of drinks in your car. So get a liner like this to protect if this is where you're going to store your drinks. Other options are doing something like this. So you can have, what you want to do is get cardboard boxes and or plastic containers like this that are maybe tall, and have a bunch of different size towels with you, so that as you put drinks in here, you can get them all, queued up and protected against tipping over. So the big thing is you're probably not going to, but if you do have to brake hard in case to prevent an accident, or you accidentally drive over a really heavy speed bump that you didn't expect, you didn't see it because of the lighting or whatever, you are going to spill drinks. And unless you have them in a really nice setup like this where it's like spill proof, this will keep drinks from tipping over, because you have a large base, and then you also have the protection of, if it really does spill, it'll all be captured in here. And yeah, you got a mess, but at least you can just dump it, clean it out at home, and get going again. The other thing I do is I have a caddy here with just junk in it, just stuff I have wipes, and for some reason I always end up with extra straws. And I use this caddy because it's tall and it's very sturdy. So what I do a lot of times is I'll rotate this in the right direction and place my food bags here so that they can't tip over, even if I brake hard or accelerate hard. And sometimes I'll slide that around and reshape it depending on what I got going on. That seems to work pretty well in combination with the drink holders to protect drinks from spilling. McDonald's will always give you their drinks inside the food bags, so it's a little more stable. Okay, let's walk around. Oh, let's talk about signage. Oh, okay, let me talk about this. Flashlight. When you get into the dusk hours and nighttime hours, you need a flashlight that is one of these tactical style flashlights. This one is $14, and it's very bright. And the best thing about this is you can move this lens and focus it, so that when you get to apartment complexes and you need to find the building numbers and apartment numbers somewhere in the dark of night, this will let you shine about 50 feet into the distance and you can find your apartment numbers. Without this, you're going to waste a lot of time getting out of your vehicle, running up to apartment doors and finding numbers. So you got to get one of these. This will also work in neighborhoods at night that have a lot of trees, real dark, hanging over everything, and it's still very hard to see the house numbers. Highly recommend this to help you out at night. If you're not driving at night, it's not an issue. Okay, next let's talk about the layout. Oh, these for drinks. These are fine for when you have to pick up your food and bring it to your car. That'll help you get it to your car, but do not use these while driving. If you think you're going to lay this down here with drinks in it and the drinks are not going to tip over, if you stop short for any reason, all those drinks are going to tumble in your car. So this is why whenever I get this, I take them to my car and then I reposition all my drinks either in my cup holders or in a rig like this. Okay, rubber gloves. I don't know, I carry the rubber gloves. Sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. I have hand sanitizer here, which I can get at like Winco, and I'll use this with the pump. It's very convenient, and you just have to decide how you want to work it. I find if I do use that instead of gloves and I use it frequently, it kind of wears out my skin. So I usually kind of do that every few days, and I stick with the rubber gloves. Sometimes I'll use these hand wipes, towels, just to keep things safe. I'm kind of figuring out my routine now. I don't really have one, but I kind of rotate between them depending on what I feel is the best way to handle it. And this happened to me the other day. So this is my vacuum, and I bring it with me because, of all things, the damn mosquitoes get in the car sometimes at night. And you're driving along and you're spending all your time trying to swat mosquitoes. So I just pull along the side of the road and use this vacuum to get them out of the front of the windshield, and then I have a ride that's nice and serene. Okay, signage. Let me show you the sign I got going on up here. It's this LED sign, and this is great for letting the food place, the restaurant, know that I'm an Uber driver, and I can pull in the driver Uber delivery parking spots. And what I do here is I have this rigged up where I just hit this button here, and you'll see it light up with Uber. Okay, that sign is it's about $50. It's programmable. You can hook it up to your cell phone optionally if you have the Bluetooth option. It's really awesome at night. I mean, it's great. And I put the button on there so when I'm driving, I turn it off because it kind of lights up the cabin and is a slight distraction for driving and obscuring your vision because it's a light in your car. So I turn it off when I'm driving, and whenever I'm driving like on the highway or on the roads. When I'm approaching the destination, I get it turned on so that if somebody's in an apartment looking for me, they see my car very easily. If you don't want to spend the money on that, just go online, just go to Google and search for images and do something like this. Print this out and just throw it up on your dash. And the only time you might want to take it off your dash is in the bright sun. This white might reflect on the windshield and cause a little bit of blockage of vision. Here's another trick I set up. This is it's a cup I flipped upside down. I threw a flashlight in there, screwed it to the lid, and I put the sign on here, and you just turn it on. And at daytime this is great, and at nighttime it just lights up the whole car in the front here. And people see this from like 50 yards away. It's awesome. Again, it's to help them identify you, and then they'll step out and wave you down. It's awesome. Again, you're not using this signage all the time, but the few times you do during the day, you might do 20 or 30 deliveries in a day. The few times that it's used, it's just very, very helpful. Again, saving time and frustration. Hook you up with your delivery person and get it done and on to the next one. Okay, the trunk. So what I do in the trunk is I pad it with these moving blankets. You can get these moving blankets for $3.99 at Harbor Freight Tools, and I have like 3 of them in here. And I try to keep this space clear for whenever I get a big pizza order, and I just want to load in the pizzas in here. I want to have them protected against a sudden stop. I don't want food and pizza to go sliding and falling down off my front seat. If I have one small pizza, I'll tend to put that on the front seat. Um, anyway, I kind of feel it out. You know, if it's a big order, I don't want 3 pizzas sitting on my front seat because if they topple, it's a disaster. Um, then extra towels in there. And okay, driver's side. Okay, I'm carrying my water bottles for a drink. Sometimes I'll take a break at a quick trip, grab stuff. And in here, my cell phone for navigation is here. And this is kind of a new deal. So this is multiple things here. Okay, first of all, you can get these little things. It's called a Whiz Gear magnet. And they 3M sticky tape to anywhere on your car. And I would recommend trying to set up a rig that lets your phone be up here. Kind of where your eyes, when you're driving, you just glance down at your phone to see the current navigation scenario. And that way it's very minimal distraction. Now I have mine down here a little lower just because the way my dash worked out. And I used to have a magnet on the back, but the magnet interferes with charging. So what I found was another product, and this is a magnetic. I actually put the metal piece on here. So now this actually magnets to this, pretty strong. And then this is like a clamp to hold your cell phone in place. And this is a wireless charger, which connects here. And the reason for this is because you're getting in and out of your car 20, 30, 40 times in a weekend, and you're wanting to charge your phone, and you're going to wear out your charging port. So the wireless charging lets the phone stay fully charged and not wear out the charging port, because every time you do a delivery, you're going into the restaurant with the phone and coming back in the car, putting it here, you're delivering the food, and half the time you're grabbing your phone to go up to the door because they want you to take a picture of the delivery, which helps the person ordering the food verify that, yeah, this is where the food is left on my front porch, as opposed to sometimes Uber will actually give you the wrong address. They'll give you the next door neighbors, and you'll deliver the food according to all the instructions in Uber, but yet the person didn't get their food. It's next door. So if you take a good picture, then they will know that, oh, this is my next door neighbor. And what I tend to do on the photos when I do those pictures, I try to include something that's key to them visually knowing where the food is. I mean, if it's their own house, they know what it looks like, but the problem is when it's not correct. So what I'll do a lot of times is make sure I take a picture of the address on the house. Or if there's none to be found, I'll actually take a picture at the curb and just take a picture of the 6908 Main Street on the curb. I'll just snap a picture of that and make sure that they know where the food was delivered. Okay, now, as you deliver an Uber Eats, you'll have, of course, your nav system running here, and so you'll have your map running here. It'll be telling you how to navigate. But if you are near toll roads, Uber will tell you to navigate. It will navigate you onto the toll roads, costing you money. So you might be paying $2, $3 for a toll road that they're paying you $3 or $4 for a delivery. So you lose money on the deal. So I would highly recommend that you have another phone, or hopefully your car system will have built-in navigation like I do here. It's not really built in, but what I did is I have another cell phone down here, and it's actually hooked into the car's Android Auto system, and so I can actually just switch over to it. Yes, it takes a minute to hook up here. Okay, there. So now I have this is the car's navigation system. And what I'll do on here is I'll use this for two things. One, when I get an address from Uber that navigates me across the toll road, and I'm not sure exactly, I'm not familiar with the area, and I need another way to get to that house without getting on a toll road. What I'll do is I'll go into the Uber delivery screen, which will be you'll see the delivery down here, and you'll bump it up, and you can see the address. And then you go in your car nav and just punch in or speak in the address, and then I have the car system programmed to never get on the toll roads. And also what I do is I use the car's nav system to get out of a neighborhood quickly. So if all of a sudden I'm finished up, I don't know where I am exactly. I've been driving multiple deliveries all day, and it's snaking me around. I know I'm somewhere in the northeast part of town, and then I'm buried in some neighborhood here. And I know that if I just suddenly go to my car nav and I push take me home button, I'll just go down and I'll hit whatever. Well, for some reason it's not showing me home. I'll just type in home, or I'll hit usually my home is right here, but I'll go here and I'll hit home. I'll key it in or speak it in. Just type home, and my home address will show up here, and I'll say go, and it'll get me out of the neighborhood. And usually my goal is to get out of the neighborhood and get onto a major road, and of course major roads typically lead back to restaurants. So usually I'll get all twisted around in the neighborhood. I need a quick way out. I want to know in 5 seconds how to get out of there. I'll just tell my nav system, go home, and wiggle me out of that neighborhood quickly and efficiently. So that's what I do there. Okay, so now I'm going to take you on a delivery here. Also, I have a crash cam up here recording everything. So if Uber ever wants to go after me and say, hey, you stole this food, you didn't deliver it, whatever, I don't know what they would ever do to you, just cancel your account. But I keep this camera running so I keep my whole day is recorded. Every delivery I make, every pickup. Also good if you ever have an insurance issue, an accident, it's going to record everything that went on in the accident. Okay, so I'm just going to go online, and I'm going to hit go. And I have to this is the COVID era, so you got to verify that you sanitize and wash my hands, which I just did, and I just cleaned out my vehicle. And if I feel sick, I'm not going to be driving. I feel great, have been great, and I'm wearing a face mask. Well, let's see, I got to get my face mask on here. Let's put that on. And okay, I'm checking that box, and I gotta let them take a picture of me wearing the mask. Get my face in the shot there. Make sure there's no glare in my glasses, otherwise it complains. Okay, we're covered there. We're ready to drive. Now you're still not actually online, even though you told it you're ready to drive. Actually, I got to select my vehicle here, which if you have more than one vehicle, it'll always ask you that if you've closed out the app completely. Day to day, if you leave the app running in the background, it won't re-ask you that. Okay, now I'm just going to back out of the garage here, and then get set up. Okay, now the sun's glaring in this cabin here, so I'm hoping it's not too hard to look at. And I'm going to show you a couple things in the app. So, without the glare, hopefully. So the first thing I do is when I leave the house or the work, I'll zoom out and look at the map around me to see where there's some specials going on. Where there's purple, there's usually a dollar amount here. And if you go into anywhere in the purple area, you'll get that extra dollar on that next delivery. I believe, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I believe if you touch into the purple area and even drive out of it, you'll still have captured that dollar, even if you go pick up orders outside the purple area. I believe that's how it works. That's how it works with Uber people driving, but I haven't proven that and reviewed the actual log to see how that works on Uber Eats. Okay, and let's see if there's a promo going on right now. So I'll hit promo, and right now until 9 p.m. there's a booster going on, and I'll touch that, and it'll show me the maps of where the boosters are and how much they are. So I'm in Fort Worth here, and as I zoom in, I can see that this area, which the center point is here, and that is 1.2 times the normal rate. So that's good. That's a 20% boost. If I'm outside of this immediate zone, I'm in the next area. It's hard to, which is the next area outside here, which that is the center zone right there. These sometimes will be different, and as of right now, they're the same. I think later on tonight this will pop to 1.4, and that'll stay 1.2, I believe. Other areas, you can just scroll around and check them out. Obviously, you might find a really great deal. Oh, this is 1.3. Yeah, but you got to drive 30 miles to get over there, so it's not worth it. Unless you're planning to head over there to meet friends and hang out for the next day or two or something. So anyway, I'm already, let me get out of this promotions area. This button here always will recenter you on yourself and set the zoom level. So if you pinch and zoom away, it's like, hey, where am I? You just hit that and you'll get back. This is your money up here. Touch your money. That'll always, and you can scroll left and right. This will show you your last trip money, and this will show you everything for today, total. If you scroll it to your last trip and then you touch the screen, it'll still show you the last trip up there. If that's what you always want to see, just leave it like that. Touch it again, scroll it to your total for the day, touch the map again. That's what it's going to keep track of your running total for today. Here's your menu system. We can talk about all that later. But for now, let's just go on a ride. And we'll just hit go and wait for our first call to come in. And usually what I do is I just start driving from my neighborhood. I'll start driving out towards a populated restaurant area. If I don't get a call immediately, then that's what I'll just do. I'll just generally just drift towards that area. Okay, so what else do we need to talk about while I'm doing that? So the most important thing, you're making money. The worst thing that you could ever do is get in an accident. So you said, oh, I made $60 today and then I had a $2,000 accident. So what's the point? So you need to up your game with safety. You're not trying to bring this food fast to people. That's totally against the safety thing. You're trying to drive super safe. So you need to take it easy. You need to just relax. It's not, people don't die because they didn't get their food in 6 minutes versus 4 minutes. So you need to understand that each food delivery can be, it can be a 15-minute deal from the time they order it, or it can be an hour deal. And the fact that you're trying to gun it to deliver it 45 seconds to a minute and a half quicker makes no sense at all for the big picture. So just take your time and just be the grandma driver. And if you want to save a little more money, even keep your speed limit low. On highways, do 55 and 60 when it's safe and people aren't really trying to get angry and knock on your rear bumper. Save that money, man. It's only, if you got to do, if you want to feel like you're doing 80 miles an hour for the next 3 miles on a highway, well, man, you just spilled out another 75 cents in gas to complete this $4 order. It's pointless. So you really just want to take it easy on driving. You want to be super safe, super aware. You really practice just, when you can look at your screen and when you should really be paying attention. Because it's really would be, if you get in an accident, it's just like, why, you just ask the question, why did I even sign up? And, yeah, you're covered by insurance. Insurance will take care of you, but it's just, you just don't want to be there. You don't want to have to be using your insurance. That's what I'm saying. So just take it easy. You're never in a rush. I think one time out of 300 deliveries, I got a message that says, oh man, when are you going to get here? And it's like, I just have to explain to them that it's like, it's not just about me driving fast. It's about the restaurants behind. They got lots of people waiting for orders, and I'm in traffic. It's 5 o'clock and I'm in rush hour traffic. So you can't appease that need for speed scenario. Okay, sorry for the quality of the video here. The sun is just beaming in with this hazy cloud, Sahara dust storm crap. Anyway, what else can we talk about? Let's talk about picking up. So the different restaurants, everybody has their own deal, and I find it to be the worst communication thing of all time. The restaurants have signs posted that are old, they're not up to date. They'll say Uber drivers here, it's not correct. They'll say, oh man, we're open doors, come on in here. And you get out your car, you park your car, you find a good place to park, get out of your car, you turn it off, you walk over to the door, and the door is locked. It's like, come on, managers, can't you just get these signs updated so when we pull around and are coming up to the restaurant that it's accurate? So it's very frustrating. And what's continually frustrating is that I want to say out of 300 deliveries, only a dozen or 24 times have I ever visited the same restaurant. So you can't say that, oh, I'll learn that restaurant after 2 or 3 or 4 pickups. Well, no, you won't, because the next 200 deliveries you do, you'll never be back there. So it's kind of annoying that there'll be some similarities, like you learn that pretty much all the restaurants, you pretty much need to walk into them, and the frustration comes when it gets dark, and after 9 o'clock, things start to change. Some restaurants will lock their dining areas so you can't get in there, but all the signage says, come on in, and there will be notes on the Uber screen that tell you what to do at that restaurant. Like, oh, first come inside and check to make sure the dining area is available for Uber pickup. And then if that doesn't work, then you're supposed to do this. And then if that doesn't work, well, gosh, why don't you just tell me that at this time, on these days of the weeks, at these times, do not come into the dining room? That would save like 3 minutes of having to doink with parking your car and maneuvering it, locking it, coming into the restaurant and trying to, you find out a door's locked. So that's actually very frustrating. And there's no rules. It's just every restaurant's a little different. So, okay, here comes our call. So there we go. We look at it, we review it, we see things here. It tells me where I'm going, where I'm delivering from. I'm driving from here, pick it up, deliver it. I want it, $6.50.
Head to your pickup at Saltgrass 4601 City Lake Boulevard.
Now, when it first starts out, it's going to show you the general path, and you can hit navigate to actually start becoming like a normal navigation screen. And that voice you just heard will constantly talk to you like a normal nav system. But I actually will touch the top. It'll show me all the directions it wants me to do to get to that restaurant. And I'm going to take the speaker here to tell it to shut up. That's really annoying. Okay, so we're just going to start navigating now. And let's see if I want to talk about anything else before I pause the video. Again, the navigation is based on Google Maps. It's built into Uber, but based on Google Maps. Optionally, in the settings menu, you can tell it that you don't want to use Google, you want to use Waze. And it will throw you out of Uber temporarily as you navigate to use Waze. As another option, you can tell it, I want to use Google Maps outside of Uber. And it will, again, pop you out of Uber into the Google Maps. I like it better to be in Uber. That's just my preference. I find that as I'm driving, I want to find things out about my pickup. So, for example, I can hit this. I can hit my destination here, and it'll tell me about everything that's going on. Where I'm headed. It'll tell me the instructions. Pick it up inside the store. Pick it up at the counter. Sometimes you'll see the instructions here. It says do not go through the drive-thru if they have one. And again, these instructions are general, and some restaurants like the higher dollar steakhouses, they're actually pretty simple because they don't have a drive-thru window, so there's really no other options. It's the McDonald's and the Wendy's and Jack in the Boxes that kind of get frustrating. You can scroll down and see the orders. So this person here, you can see the person's last name and first initial, or first name and last initial, and for privacy they just don't give you a lot of info. And then you can hit this menu system here, and it'll tell you what they're ordering. So you can kind of, as you're driving, kind of get your mind set up to what size packages am I going to be picking up. And also you can see, like like I'm going to search here in a second after I get through this traffic. I'm going to search and see if there's any drinks on this order. Okay, so now I'm in a safe area, and I can just scroll down here and see everything else they got going on. And so now right away, I just know I don't see any drinks on here. So I see this is a big order. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like five or six meals here. So it's a big order. No problem. And I can just X out of here to close that out. And scroll this back down. And notice at the bottom, it'll always tell me my total time and distance to get to the restaurant. And again, if you, this is just normal navigation. So if you decide like, well, this isn't the best way, or this is the way with the most potholes, I want to go a different way, just go a different way. Go the way you know, if you know the area. You know, use your car nav as an option if this is trying to put you on toll roads. And this will tell you the distance to the next turn. Okay, so I'm on the highway now, headed down there to Bryan Irvin, and I'm not in a rush. I mean, this is 65, and people are going 70 plus, and I'm not in a hurry. They might not even have the order ready. This is prime time. It's 6:30 on a Saturday, so this is prime time. I don't know that the order's ready yet, and I can't tell you when the calls come in, if that means that the order was just placed, or they were having trouble getting somebody to pick it up, and I'm like, oh no, the food's ready, and I'm like the last ditch effort to get that picked up. I'm not sure exactly how all that plays out in the system. I'm sure it's some of everything at times. But again, I'm not in a rush. I'm interested in having a good, cheap fill up on my next gas tank. Now this is an electric car, but you get the idea. It costs money to drive fast. It costs a lot more money to drive faster. Okay, so I'll just pause it here. Come back online in a minute. Okay, so we're approaching Saltgrass here. I think I've done maybe out of 300 deliveries, I've maybe done 4 pickups here. I think they have some dedicated spaces, can't remember. And they don't have dedicated. So I'm gonna park right over here. Oh, they do have dedicated. This is great. So I got these nice dedicated spaces here. And again, you know, curbside to go. Well, I'm not calling it in. I'm walking in and picking it up. So I'm going to do that and come back online here. Okay, so I went in there. It is a big order. It is going to take them a little longer to get it ready, but no big deal. It's still worth it. It'll probably be a decent tip on this one. For large, I tend to find out the larger orders at the fancier places will typically have a larger tip. Okay, so that was about 12 minutes to get it, and I just loaded 2 bags in the front here, surrounded by my little caddy, and then a towel to help it cushion against any movement, and we are off. And so now, notice that this screen, when you're driving to pick up to the restaurant, and when you're in the restaurant, there's nothing to do except look at things. You can always review the menu of what they ordered. You can also tell it things like, you can report issues like, oh, some other Uber driver picked up the order. They canceled the order. You can report issues here. You can tell them all kinds of things. What happened? You can call support, get help, which these days that's pretty much useless. That's a 30-minute call probably. Anyway, you can report issues and then cancel the order once you report the issue. You can also, when you got the food in your car, that's when you come here and you tell it this was a good experience or a bad experience. So this was good. And notice here, there's no way I can find out where I'm headed to deliver this food until I tell it got the delivery in my car and I'm ready to start. Once I hit that, then I can discover where I'm taking it to. Okay, now I'll head out there and pause the video for now. Okay, now notice as I'm driving, I get the option on the map here. I can orient the map towards north, south, east, west, north, up, or I can go to navigate mode. and this button lets you pop between those two modes, whichever is the most advantageous for you to get oriented. And there's an option in the settings of the app when you're not driving somewhere to a pickup or delivery. There's an option in the settings that allows you to tell it, when I start navigating, I want you to put me in the north up or the navigate mode. So that's an option that you can set depending on which way you prefer it to be. In general, I find it a little disorienting whenever you are picking up from a restaurant, getting in your car, and you tell it, I'm ready to deliver. It seems like half the time I'm disoriented as to which way to turn out of the parking lot, because again, you typically just pulled into the parking lot and you turned 90 degrees or 180 doing in a parking space, and the GPS is not that accurate that it knows exactly which way you're about to turn to get out of the parking lot. So I want to say about half the time you just have to guess which way to pull out of a parking lot or an intersection. It can get, it's kind of a bummer, because if you go the wrong way, you have to then learn that, oh, I did go the wrong way, and now I have to figure out how to turn around and do a U-turn. And it's like, okay, well, I have to go to the next intersection. That's a red light, a left turn. I have to wait there 2 minutes, come back here to this intersection. It was on a corner, restaurant was on a corner. Now I have to turn left onto that, and that's another left turn signal I have to wait for. So if you make the wrong exit out of a restaurant's parking lot, it can be a 3-minute time waster to get corrected. So anything you can do to figure out, maybe when you're sitting in the restaurant waiting for the order, anything you can do to kind of guess your best plan of action. And again, that's why I mentioned that you're not going to see the address or the destination until you start the delivery. So the only time you can get oriented to that is when you accept the initial order and you can see where it's located. If you're very familiar with the area you're in, then you'll know that for exiting the restaurant's parking lot. And when like right now, I'm driving to this location, so at any moment now I could get another request and it'll pop up on the screen and say, hey, do you want to take this order? And it will tell me a little bit of information about the order, but it won't, because I'm navigating on the map, it won't use the map to show me what's going on as far as, oh, drive to this restaurant located here and then deliver to this house over here. You won't see any of that because you're busy navigating on your current ride. So you won't necessarily know that information if you're accepting the next delivery while you're on a current delivery, and that's called queuing up. So you could queue up 1 or 2 orders ahead while you're on an existing ride, and you can even have a double order, like, oh, they figured out that there's 2 orders waiting at the restaurant to be delivered, and you can accept that delivery, and you would be picking up 2 different orders and delivering to at one restaurant and delivering to one house. 2 houses, and similarly, you could pick up from 2 restaurants that happen to be close by to each other and deliver to 2 different places. So you can get all kinds of scenarios happening. Okay, so now make sure you watch out for speed bumps. Man, that's the thing that gets me all the time is speed bumps. That's why I try to drive slow in general, because I know I'm gonna get caught by them, and they tend to be painted poorly and they're just not marked well, and they're fine when they're new, but anyway, I hate the speed bumps. Just watch and try to be extra diligent for those. That's kind of your job, not to ruin your car's suspension. Safe driving and protect your car. Okay, so let me prep you for the house drop-off. So when you turn on your final street, you're going to immediately, your eyes should start looking for the house numbers. Is it on the curb, or are they painted on the houses only, or a mixture? You kind of want to get familiar with what you're about to hit. Because sometimes you'll see like, oh, there's a house number and you got it. Oh, that's 6,500, and then all of a sudden the next 3 houses don't have it. Okay, well at least you got the first house and you're a little bit oriented. If you are trying to end out your day and you don't want any more deliveries while you're on a ride, you can just hit this menu button and tell it, I want to stop new requests. And you'll see this is your queue of all the things you're about to do. Okay, now I'm looking at the curbs here, and I noticed that the curbs have the house numbers on them. So that's what I'm looking for. Okay, now notice here's the customer notes. They say, leave it door. They might have other instructions here like, do not ring the doorbell because other family members are sleeping, whatever. So always make sure to read the notes. And I just place it at the front door, and the app, when I have to tell the app how it went. So I'm going to tell the app everything went well, thumbs up. That's optional. You don't have to do that. And sometimes it wants you to take a photo. Probably 80% of the time it'll want you to take a photo. That actually ends up getting delivered to the customer. I don't know if the customer requests that or it's an Uber thing. But anyway, so I just checked that I delivered it. It's now wanting me to take a photo, and usually I step out of the car and I'll take a photo of the curb, but this car right here is actually completely blocking the curb painted house number. So in this case, I'll just take a picture of the front of the house like this, and that was weird. Let's see what just happened there. I think it timed out. It didn't let me. It thought I was taking too much time to take the picture, so it timed out. So now I'm back online. Let me go offline again. Anyway, you take a picture, and that closes out that order, and they'll hand that picture off to them. And let's see what else. Usually what I do is I revisit the scene to see what's going on and make sure I'm in an area that's, if I'm near a border of a boost area that has better payouts, I'll tend to drive towards that area if I know it well. And then there's the money for that last delivery. It's right here, my last trip. And if you click on the See Earnings activity, it will show you all your trips from the past, starting with the most recent at the top. The ones that have a green check mark next to it means that you've got a tip on there. So if I look at that delivery, I can see all the stats about it. You can see the mini map of where it was. They won't give you exact addresses. They'll give you approximate addresses without the house numbers. And they'll give you all the stats on the ride, all the breakout of the money, and you can see your tip right there. And the promotion, that's that little booster bonus. And then you can optionally just send a thanks for the tip. That's a new feature they just added. And you can just click on every one of these deliveries and say thanks for the tip. Okay, these I've already done. And so typically when you're driving, after about 5 or 6 deliveries, they'll all be loaded up here. You'll see your money, but there's no tips on them yet because the people haven't finished eating their meals. They're not thinking about it. Maybe the next day they'll give you the tip. So you won't, your total should keep growing even after you get home and you're done for the day. Your total here will start growing as the tips come in. Okay, so what do you do next? So now I've just obviously dropped off in this neighborhood, and there's no restaurants around here within a mile, or maybe 2. So in general, what I do is based on my knowledge of hot spots around town or whatever, I'll try to choose what's maybe the closest place to drift towards. If it's if it's dinner time and kind of a busy time, you're probably better off heading towards places that might have the higher dollar restaurants to get a chance at getting those, as opposed to a hot spot that has like a dozen McDonald type fast food places. And there's no logic. You may not figure it out because it's so complicated. It's really just Uber's trying to match up drivers with deliveries, and the closest driver will win. So if Saltgrass has 5 other drivers nearby it, and you can drive closer than them, then maybe you'll be the next picked. But if you're 3 miles away in some neighborhood and Saltgrass runs out of drivers and they need one, they'll reach out to you 4 miles away and say, hey man, we need you down here. You're closer than anybody else. So a lot of times you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know where the other drivers are. You don't see the other drivers. You don't know what's going on. You don't know the busyness. You don't know the queues that are happening in all the restaurants. And that's just a thing that you might have to feel out as the months roll by. You'll get some experience with that, but even me with, again, hundreds of deliveries, I can't say that I'm really knowledgeable on how all that plays out. I mean, it could be dumb things like there's a football game on TV and there's a football game in town, and that changes the scope of everything. There might be other times where, well, it rained for the last 2 days, and so today's sunny, and everybody's out until it starts getting dark, and then they go inside and decide to order food. I mean, you can make some generalizations about and guesses about what's happening, but it's like you really don't know, and the system's just going to beckon you based on math, based on proximity formulas, and it's up to people to order, and if you're around and they snag you, that's great. So that's kind of what you're up against. And when it gets busy, there's times when I'll be going 6 to 8 hours in a weekend, and I'll never have a lull. I mean, it'll be when I'm headed about to drop off an order, another order will come in, and I'll just accept it no matter what's going on. Anyway, I hope this helps you get started and gives you some ideas and gets you comfortable with how the app works. And good luck to you on your Uber Eats deliveries. Okay, so you want to hear some more stories? Okay, so again, in the spirit of trying to help you out, let's talk about the nightmare scenarios. The most common nightmare scenarios is apartment complexes. Houses, they're easy. You just numbers and house numbers and space, everything's spaced out, neighborhood, nice, easy to read, signage. And the nightmare is just the apartment complexes are, first of all, you got to get into the apartment complexes, and most of them these days are gated. So in the notes of the customer, you should find the gate code. If not, you got to text them and say, hey, what's the gate code? And they'll tell you. Sometimes the gate will open immediately. Sometimes it calls their cell phone, and then they have to hit a button to open the gate. It always works out. Again, it takes away from your time a little bit, and you have to manage it, doink with your cell phone, and try to get in there. Sometimes you can show up at an apartment complex during the daytime, and the gates are left open during the daytime, and that's fine. And then there's other times, like at night, that it's sealed shut, and just coincidentally somebody else pulls in at the same time you do, and they open the gate for you, and you don't have to bother the customer. Then once you're in the apartment complex, the next hurdle is finding it. So some apartment complexes are great. They have the building number on the building clearly visible, painted. There's no obstructions to seeing the numbers. You just drive around the big circle or whatever, and it's like, oh, building 1, building 2, building 3, but okay, I'm delivering to building 8. Okay, 7 and 8, there it is. Okay, hop out, park, hop out, and it's apartment number 820. Okay, well, 8 means building 8, 2 means second floor, and 0, it's right here on the first stairwell. So that's the good scenario. The bad scenario is no building numbers, and they're nowhere to be found, and it's just an apartment number. It's like, and then on top of that, when you drive around, you can't see any of the numbers because you have to get out of your vehicle, walk into the dark hallway, and then turn your head to look at the door numbers. That can't be seen with a flashlight from the road at all, from the parking lot. So once you get, and then what you have to do is you have to look at like maybe 1 or 2 stairwells in maybe 1 or 2 different buildings to figure out, oh, this is the scheme of things. Now I got it. I'm looking for apartment number 2311, and here is number 1310, and I got to drive 5 more buildings to just pop out and check it out again. So A lot of times you just got to get on your feet, and I don't bring the food with me when I don't know where the apartment is. I actually leave the food behind, park the car, do my research, and sometimes you can find at the very front by the clubhouse, you can find they have a map of the layout and every apartment number is listed. Those are very helpful, of course. If they have it, if you see that it's there, very helpful. I've been in some apartment complexes where they have a building number and every apartment number is the same as every building. So you have apartment 201 at every of the 20 buildings in the apartment complex. So if you walk into a building hallway and here's apartment 201. Yeah, it's not the right one. No, you're in building number 3 and it's in building number 13. There's another 201 over in building 13, so be careful about that. Anyway, the apartments are the nightmare. You feel like they're a big time waster, especially when you go in the entrance gate and you go in the entrance and your delivery is like in the farthest reaches of the apartment complex, over like 13 speed bumps and dark, and you can't find things, and it just feels like a time waster. It's a big letdown emotionally, but just grind through it. You're going to get a handful of those. You just have to deal with it, and the good ones are coming. Sometimes you come back around and you'll be delivering to that same apartment complex, and now you know it. Now you know how it works. And then you're just that much more efficient delivering to wherever in that apartment complex. And again, in the app, when you're on the delivery, you can always hit the button that texts them or can call them to get help in getting the delivery done faster. Sometimes the people, they're just not good. Oh, there's an accident over there. Rear-ended. Okay, so anyway, sometimes people just are not good at giving directions, and you say, I've called people before and said, man, I'm in the front of the complex by the clubhouse. I've circled around twice. I can't find you, and they can't help you. I mean, they think they can tell you how to. They'll be like, well, I'm in the back, and you're like, well, I've already circled twice. I'm out in the parking lot. Well, I didn't see you. Anyway, you just have to, some people do awesome instructions and some are just weak, and you just have to grind through it and, deal with it. And I want to say 1 out of 20 deliveries are the nightmare time waster scenario. And, the rest will be good and a couple will be just great, and the tips will roll in and it'll make it all worth your while. Okay, so sometimes like right now, it's just quiet. I'm not getting any activity, and I'm in the busiest area I can be in, and I'm like, what's going on here? So sometimes I'll set a goal. I'll say, look, I'm going to drive to Costco, and I'm not super hungry, but I could eat. And if I can make it to the Costco parking lot and not get a call, I'll have a snack break. And then I'll just go offline. Okay, there's my call. And we'll take it. Marble slab. So what's funny about this marble slab location is that it was just a quarter of a mile or half a mile from where I just dropped off. So me running 2 miles away towards the Hewlin Mall area, I just wasted that. I'm driving right back to where that previous drop-off was, plus another half mile. But you never know. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. And hey, I could have declined that. I could have declined that marble slab pickup and just waited for the next call to come in. Or if I just could have decided I was close to my little break goal, and I just decided to cancel that and go offline and just take my snack break and be done with it. So remember, you can always decline anything, even if I'm, like right now, I'm driving to pick up this order at Marble Slab, and I can right now pull up that menu system and tell it report an issue, and I can say other. I just don't feel good, or I just changed my mind. I got hungry. I got a headache. I just want to not do the delivery for any reason. You could just select the reason that matches what's really going on, or you can just say other, and then it asks you to verify, do you want to cancel this order? And then you just say yes, I want to cancel it, and it'll grab another Uber driver to go pick it up. No problem. You're not hurting anybody's feelings. It's just a deal that, you could have gotten a flat tire, had a car problem. So you just tell it. You can just tell it right here, menu, and you can say the pickup is here. Hit that and say report issue, and you say you can choose any of these reasons and say other, or just I don't want to do it. You figured out, man, there's like a giant motorcycle rally going on in front of there, and I don't want to try to penetrate that. So it can be any reason, and you just don't want to do it. And Uber always stands behind their drivers. If there's something you feel like you don't want to do for any reason, you don't have to do it. You just tell Uber this is what's going on, and please get somebody else to handle it or cancel it. You canceling the pickup has nothing to do with their order. Their order still stays in place, and they're going to get their order delivered by somebody else, just not you. Okay, marble slab is right here. Park right in front. Let's see. I got the ice cream order here, right there, and I'll just put it under the towel to keep it extra cool. And then picked it up just fine. I'm going to start the delivery, and I'm headed up north. Pretty simple. Okay, so back to the topic of apartment complexes. Just, don't have the mentality that you got to sit in your car and drive around and try to locate those just change mentalities. Like, park your car, get on foot. You can maybe find out a lot more information out on foot quicker than you can moving your car around. I've been at where, like, I'll walk into 3 or 4 different buildings. Man, now I'm like, 100 yards away from my car. I don't care. I'm quicker figuring it out on foot, and I'll locate the exact apartment. Then I'll walk back to my car. Maybe I'll not even move my car, but maybe I'll move the car closer to the drop off, so that when I get back in the car, I'm that much quicker getting out of there. But don't have any hang-ups about just getting out of your car and going on foot. And even without the food, especially when you have food and drinks, it gets harder. So don't be walking like forever with an order. Just find out where you're going to go first if you're confused, and then complete the order. Okay, the other nightmare scenarios are you just can't find the place, and it just doesn't make sense. Uber's telling you here, but it's like, well, no, there's a hidden alleyway that gets you back to building number whatever, or this house, and it's something weird with the address. And just again, 1 out of 20, 1 out of 30 deliveries will be something weird. And just to let you know too, you can't always text people. Depending on their cell phone company and system, you can only call them, which is fine. And most people will answer pretty quickly. Leave a message, because maybe they think it's a spam call. Just leave a message, and then it'll they'll get the voicemail and call you back or whatever. And ultimately, if you absolutely can't figure something out, if you can't get it delivered, you can't contact them, Uber stands behind you, man. You can cancel the order, and yeah, you're gonna take the food home and eat it, or throw it away, or if you find a homeless person crossing your path, just do them right. One time I've had a couple bad deals, not my fault. It's actually the Uber's fault and the order person's fault, where I ended up with like 13 McChicken sandwiches in my car. It's like I ate one of them, but I can't eat 13. So anyway, strange things will happen, and you just have to deal with them. And also in your area that you typically drive in, learn the address scheme. like in Fort Worth, north sides of streets are the even numbers, and south sides of streets are the odd numbers. And then there's a certain pattern for east and west as well. So if you learn those things, it can help you locate places quicker. You know, if you know that the address is 1620 Maple, when you turn on Maple, you notice you're headed west. Okay, well, the north side of that street will be even. The house I'm looking for will be on the left side. So sometimes that'll just help you a little bit. You know, again, the Uber map should get you pretty close. You know, they're usually showing you the exact house that it's located in. But then there's other little tricks that'll just help your cause. Okay, so I just put that at the front door. It's all good. Delivered it in photo. Sometimes I'll just roll down the window here. Trying to do this with two hands. And get a photo of the house. And it's good. And I hit next. Hit next right here. That's it. Delivered. So again, that's what I do when the houses could be real close together here, and maybe the address would be off. I just love getting a picture of something that if Uber told me to drop it off on the wrong doorstep, that customer could figure out, oh yeah, that's my neighbor, and they could go get the product. Okay, the next nightmare story I'll tell you was pickup from Jack in the Box around here and driving it down to an address here on Crowley Road. And address put us like right on this corner here. It was like 9300 Crowley Road. And it was like right about here. Now this is a highway. I mean, highway. There's nobody lives on a highway. So I came down here and I said, well, I don't know what's going on. And I just pulled to the right onto this Old Glory Trail and stopped, and I look into my right, and it's just an empty field here. I mean, this is an empty field, and there's fences back here, and just empty fields. And I'm like, I don't get it. So have to call the person. And I said, I know this area very well. I said, this is an airport right here. I said, are you near the Sycamore Airport? She's like, no, I don't know, no airport. I'm not near an airport. Well, she said, well, we're right across from the church. I said, okay, well, let me find the church. And sure enough, I found the church. The church was like right here. So I'm kind of driving like over in this area trying to find her, and she's trying to describe to me, and we can't match up. We're not saying the same things or something. And anyway, the long story short is, first of all, there's two churches in the area. So I'm looking over here at this church, and she's talking about another baby church over here, little tiny building, little chapel thing. She turns out to be right over here. Now this house there's like some mailboxes out here, but they're like all dark and black. It's nighttime. It's past dusk, so it's nighttime, and there's trees shrouding all this, adding more shade or more darkness to it. And the trees, you can't even see the house when you're standing at the road. It's like buried. And there's no light. On top of that, when we did finally put our eyes on the house, there's no lights on the house. So you couldn't even, there's nothing to indicate that there's somebody living back here. You know, the setback is huge. It's like a long way back. I had to actually drive in the parking lot of this other industrial building to get in there to hand her the delivery over the fence as we talked to each other. Anyway, that was a 35-minute process, and I just summarized it quick there. But that was a fiasco. I mean, she was happy to get her food. It wasn't like that far cold or anything. It was a big order, so there's a lot of heat in the packaging. But um, sometimes it's just, Oh, so the kicker in the story was, why couldn't she tell me how to find her house? Because she said this is her grandfather's house, and she's only been here 2 times. So she knew nothing about the area, yet she's trying to guide me and help me find her house. So anyway, that was kind of a nightmare scenario. And again, you probably will hook up with people eventually. It's just kind of a kick in the pants to spend so much time doing so. Okay, so this is a really weird night. There's some. I mean, I'm having like a 10-minute lull here, no orders, and I'm just right off of 30 here now. I would maybe tell you I'm kind of in between the hot spots of restaurants, but I mean, right behind me is Camp Bowie with eateries on it. I might have to head over closer to this Camp Bowie area with hot spots, or I might have to head towards downtown. Not sure yet. Okay, another good tip is to use your trip odometer. So, now, man, I'm going to talk about this, that I do it all the time, and this is the one day I didn't do it. But always reset your trip meter, which I'll do right here, to start out your day. Now, I didn't do it, and so I don't really know today how many miles I've driven so far, but I think I've driven probably about 10 miles, maybe 8. And that'll match up with your money. So you can just kind of get an idea of how you're doing by your money. So if I got $11, I should probably, on my trip meter, I should probably be around 8 to 11 miles of driving. As the day goes on and you do more deliveries, that'll true up, and you'll probably, if you make $100, you should probably have driven between 60 and 100 miles. You might have done it really well and did 65, or I mean, and you can go over. I mean, it's, if you did 120 miles for $100, that's great. Okay, next delivery. Okay, I know that restaurant, and it's almost $9. I'll do it. Sometimes you have to tap that card twice. Okay, I just got to run up to right off of 7th Street, very popular area. Okay, I just grabbed that order and got it tucked away on the floor here, all barricaded in so it can't tip over. And picked it up good. Start delivery. And we're headed out 10 miles, 11 miles. So I just did that drop off. Let's see where I'm at here. So I'm at $41. And that is how many trips? That's 3 trips, $41. Come on. So this, with the green check mark, that means I got a tip on there. These are waiting for potential tips. Let's look at that one. And look at that. That's insane. $22 tip. Is that awesome? Come on. I love it. Sure, I'm going to send thanks for that tip. That was that saltgrass order, I think. Yeah, that was saltgrass. I might have to hang it up for tonight after that. Just kidding. So, okay, some advanced topics. So I just did a drop off, and let's talk about insurance a little bit. So your car insurance, when you're driving for other purposes other than to and from a office job, work, and or pleasure, that's what your normal insurance is for. This is commercial insurance when you're driving for a living, to make money. So Uber will say that you're covered, but really you're mostly covered. Now I just did a drop off, and right now I'm kind of like driving commercially. I'm waiting for my next order to come in. So technically right now I'm not really covered. Uber covers me when I'm on a pickup, en route to a pickup food, or en route to deliver something. They don't pay me for right now when there's nothing going on. So if I drive around and have an accident, it's kind of a mixed bag. It's like, well, what were you doing? if it's like, well, I was just about to, I cut off work, I cut off Uber Eats, and I was going to go to a restaurant and eat myself. So I was driving to eat. So that's, it's arguable. Well, what were we doing in that part of town? Well, I was driving for Uber Eats. I mean, so anyway, all I have to say is that Uber Eats doesn't necessarily cover you for everything. It covers you for most things. But like if I start driving, looking for my next order to come in, and have an accident, that's like my normal insurance would cover it, not Uber's. But really, my normal insurance technically doesn't cover it. So all that to say, you should call your insurance company and say, hey, I'm doing this and I want the extra coverage. And my insurance happens to be $14 extra a month to cover me for the times I'm driving commercially to make money, and for the portions of the driving that Uber does not cover me. When you read on Uber's site, it'll tell you it'll act like it's coverage full time, and it's not. So I'm telling you what's going on. So the other thing is, when you're wanting to quit, like right now I'm kind of far out from the city and my home. So I'm right here, but home is way down here. So if I decide, I kind of want to, I still want to drive a little, but I kind of want to start thinking about heading home and quitting. So as orders come in and pop up, I might look at them and quickly, I get about 20-30 seconds to decide by looking at them. If I can tell where they're headed, I might decline ones that bring me further out or further north away from my house. And I'll try to only accept orders that help me move towards, either keep me in the same area or help me move towards the house. And that's another strategy you can do as you kind of try to end out your day. Okay, my next order came in, and it's to McDonald's, and it's just half a mile away. So that's great, and it actually will end up bringing me closer to the house by just a few more extra miles from here, closer to my house. So not a big deal, but it's something I accepted right away. So this is what I really hate. So this is McDonald's, and it's almost 8:30. I walk up to the door. It says, "Come on in," and the door's locked. So I parked the car. I went up to the door. It's locked. I got to get back in and get in line. I hate it. So anyway, there are these mobile places over there, but there's no instructions here to get in the mobile parking spots. So not sure why that's is always a pain in the ass. So those spots there, like that guy just got his meal by walking up to the door because he had a mobile order and responded in the app that he was here. But yet, as an Uber driver, there's nothing to make that happen. So I have to wait for all these cars. So there's 8 cars in line up to the order point. We'll see how quickly this goes. It might be painless. We'll see. I just wish I could walk in. Some McDonald's let you walk in. Pick up in store. It's telling me, pick up in store. Liars. But, all these instructions, and it's like wasting your time. And actually, I got lucky on this one. Me parking, walking up to the door and checking that it's a locked door. I got back in my car. I got in line. And during that time, nobody had pulled, no additional cars had pulled in line. So I didn't really lose anything there except just the aggravation of getting out of the car. And from what I figured at McDonald's, I think that they, until you verbally show up inside the store or at the speaker and tell them what you're picking up, I think at that point they're actually assembling the order. They're not prepping the order and having it ready, sitting around waiting for you to arrive at McDonald's. I think that's not what they do. I think they actually don't touch the order until they know you're here. I think that's the logic. Okay, here we go. We're getting up to the speaker now. Maybe we can tell them we're Uber.
Hi, how may I help you?
Got an Uber pickup for a Caitlin.
And what was the code, sir?
A6FF3.
Okay, please close to the first window.
Okay.
Thank you.
So McDonald's always asks for the code for the order. I don't think any other places I've been have ever asked for the code. It's just McDonald's. Another little trick I can show you is if you're on a pickup or a delivery, you won't see your money or a menu button, but if you grab this current next turn navigation card at the top and swipe down, it'll then reveal your current money status. You can then do your usual stuff with that and with the menu bar. Okay, just picked up from McDonald's there, and I don't know if it captured it on the video, but it was saying routing. It wasn't showing me the navigation, it was showing me routing. And sometimes you'll be in an area that has a weak signal, or sometimes just the Uber system, maybe in combination with Google, just won't route you. It's trying, it'll say routing, and you have like, where do I drive? I have no way to know. Well, if that happens to you, you can then go to your car nav and punch in the address and get going. And so what you do is when it's trying to route you, you can hit the bottom menu, I can't remember, I think it's the bottom menu, and you can find out the destination address, and then you just punch it into your car nav, and you can start driving. I've had some deals where it took it like 4 or 5 minutes before the Uber system would properly start navigating me to the address. So anyway, that's the reason for having a car nav or a secondary cell phone hot-spotted to your single cell phone, possibly, where you can do nav. So now you can always just on your cell phone, you could always just pop over to Google and punch in the address. So you can always do that if you don't have a secondary device or a nav system. But that's how to solve that problem. Okay, now I'm at a Sonic, and I'm going to pulled into a stall and do the push button.
Thank you for choosing Sonic. This is Raven. What can I get for you?
Got an Uber pickup for John.
Uber?
Yes, for John.
Okay, I'll be right out.
Thanks. Okay, so now I'd like to know what kind of drinks are coming in here. So one large drink, 1, 2. So 2 drinks. So my cup holder will handle 2 if they don't give me a caddy to go with it. And I'm usually good carrying 2 drinks to a house or even apartments. Pretty easy. Okay, so I just took the order in, and it fits in my cup holders, but man, it's a tight squeeze just below the phone, and the order's down there. And the other reason for the towel is whenever somebody hands you a messy, gloppy drink, which is not in this case, but you can quickly just wipe off your hands using that towel. Then you can launder the towels whenever you know their time is due. Okay, and this is an unusually long delivery. I mean, I'm going almost 13 miles to deliver a Sonic scenario. Pretty wild. Okay, so now, yes, this is a very long delivery, very unusual, and I don't know why Uber does that, because if you were to know this route, right, I'm here, I'm driving it all the way over here, but if you knew this place, I know that right on this road here on 199, there's another Sonic over there. So I don't know why they do that. I don't know if it's because, hey, there's really not a lot of drivers available, and hey, I was right next to the Sonic when the order was given to me, and that locks it in to get that guy that meal. I don't know the logic. I don't know, like, if they figured out, like, hey, if they had asked me to drive 6 miles to Sonic to do the pickup, then they know that most drivers would decline that. or maybe there's some rule built in that no drivers will drive more than 5 miles to do any pickup. I'm not sure. Again, I don't know the logic. I'm just telling you that it just seems unusual at times that the types of deliveries you'll do. You know, I would think this would be a kind of a disservice to the customer. Like, hey, I'm delivering a meal to you that's at least 15 minutes old. It's not quite that fresh. I mean, wouldn't it be better for me to drive 6 miles, pick up a meal, and then deliver to you in 6 minutes? So again, I don't know the logic behind it. It happens occasionally, and this is an example of that. So in general, the way I usually do my sessions, my 1, 2, 6, 8 hours driving sessions, I usually do it in a way that I just, whatever pops up, I'm doing it. So I just accept it. So I don't have to do much thinking about it, analyzing, oh, what's that address? What's that delivery? Where is it exactly? Most of the time, 85, 90% of the time, I'm just driving and I hear the pop-up noise and I say accept. And then, you know, especially if I'm driving, I just can't be distracted too much. And, you know, when you get to your delivery point, and then you can maybe look at it a little closer, you know, then you can maybe reevaluate that maybe I shouldn't have taken it for whatever reason. Maybe you did get tired, you were at the end of the day, you really didn't want to quit. Then you can eval it. But in general, 80-90% of the time, if I hear the noise and I see the pop-up, I just hit it and I take it. Okay, so I just dropped off, and that was kind of nice. He actually walked out and in his driveway and actually met me, and I just handed it to him through the window. So that was kind of a nice, quick drop off. Let's see how we're doing so far. And I'm at $60. And oops, let me go to see what we're doing here. And so I started about a little 6:20ish. 6, 7, 8. It's now 9:13. So let's call it 3 hours, $60. So $20 an hour, and these tips have not yet come in. So at least $20 an hour. Now some of that was because I was stopping and thinking how I was going to make up the video. So I want to say that, and some of that was slow times because I was talking on the video and I wasn't driving to an active area. So so it's somewhere north of $20 an hour, which is not bad. It seemed like a little slow today, but that's not bad, and we'll keep going. And for this 60 an hour, I've only driven the distance of that's 32 miles, but I didn't reset the timer in time, so that actually is about 45 miles total for today. So 45 miles for $59 plus whatever tips are coming up on those last 3 orders. So it's not bad. Okay, so I decided to go offline and take a break to get something to eat myself, and I pulled into this Rosas Cafe, which is one of the rare places that still lets you dine in. And I went offline, and let's see how I'm doing. Oh, 69. So that just popped. So let's see what happened. Okay, and the next tip came in. So this was about, I think, $8 or $9. Oh, okay. So there. Look at that. It was a $7 or $8, $8.50 deal, delivery, and 11 miles. And they just shot me a $10 tip. That's awesome. So it's looking good today. And 2 more tips yet to show up, and I'm still not done delivering, but I am going to take a break. Okay, I just finished my break and went back online, and I just noticed my money increase, so another tip must have come in. So let's see what's going on. And there we go. That one just gave me a tip. Should be about $5 tips. Say thanks for it. And $5.34 tip. So one more delivery, maybe they'll give me a tip. And so $75, not bad. Okay, another little tip I'll tell you is that when you're don't, when you're not on a call and you're waiting for something to come in and you're not sure where it's going to pull you towards, when you're in traffic, make sure to choose lanes such that it gives you options. Like here, I chose the middle lane to wait in because while I'm waiting here at a red light, a call could come in and I might need to go right. And if I had chosen the left lane to go drifting somewhere, then I would have to spend a lot of time correcting myself to get back to heading to the pickup point. Also, another habit to get you into is watching the prices of gas. And as you drive around, you're going to be driving all over the area and 50 to 100 miles a day plus, and so you'll be traveling past hundreds of gas stations. So take that opportunity to know that you'll probably be passing at some point during your journey, you'll be passing by one of the lowest priced gas stations, and that would be the greatest time to buy your gas. And I usually try to do it towards the end of the day. Now I'm in an electric car now, but I have another car I use that's gas, and I try to get it towards the end of the day and have it filled up for the next day's travels. It also, if you always get it at the end of your day, then you can kind of get a quick idea of how much profit you made, because you can just quickly take your total monies on the app that it's showing you and take out your gas costs once you fill up. If you're filling up only every 2 or 3 days, of course that won't be as easy to calculate in your head, but that's one option you can have. And there's another app you might want to get if you don't know about it already. It's called Gas Buddy, and it will have the social networking reported prices of all the current stations, regular and mid-grade and premium and diesel pricing, and they'll tell you they'll let you sort by stations, by distance, by price in your area, let you research a specific area by pinching and zooming. You can also mark your favorite gas stations, so you can say, here's my favorite top 10, top 7, 8 gas stations, and always show that pricing. So it's very helpful in knowing, help you plan your purchase. Like when you're going to pass by this gas station. If you're not currently on a delivery, you'll take that 5 to 10 minutes to fill it up and get the best pricing. Okay, so now I'm looking at my my map again, and I just realized that I need to get into the center zone around the city, which is 1.4 multiplier. So that's 10% better than that 1.3 area that I'm in now. So I'm trying to make my way down there. If I get a call that's in the area I'm in right now, I'll probably just decline it and wait till I get down in that core area. So now I'm in the zone, as you can see here. I've just crossed into this middle central area, and I need to tell you that even though if I had taken a call when I was in the outer area, as long as what matters is the pickup area. If the restaurant is located inside the zone you're targeting, that's the multiplier that's used to calculate your additional payment. So if I was up near that Fair Oaks or River Oaks area, and I took a call that brought me down in here to the restaurant to pick up from, I would be getting the 1.4 rate, 1.4 booster or multiplier. So that's how that works. Okay, and I just got the call. It just came in for Taco Bell right in the middle of downtown, so I'll get that 1.4 multiplier. Okay, so this Taco Bell is just simply 1 mile away, and the note is here. It's like an apartment complex, and I just punched the door code in to get inside. Okay, as you can see here, I walked up to the building and I tried to punch in the code and it wasn't working. And it turned out that I didn't punch the pound sign first, but then when I was punching it in correctly, it had kind of like needed to be left alone for a while. I didn't know that before I tried again. And he called me, I texted him in first, and then Eventually, he just called me and we hooked up. So he was actually in the way back building. He was new to the area, so he wasn't sure exactly what to tell me. So he just stepped out to the street and started walking, and I hopped back in my car and started driving, and we met up pretty quickly. So I want to say it was about a 7-8 minute, delay, but it worked out pretty good. So I'll just now go back here. That's the text button, calling or texting right here. So you can text back and forth with him or hit the call button to actually make the phone call. And now I'm just going to say it was good and it's delivered. And that completes that one. I note at the bottom here you'll get occasional messages. It'll tell you like, "Oh, you're in a busy area. Just be patient. We're trying to get a trip for you." And those messages may. Oh, look, that was great. He gave me a tip. That just showed up there. So there we are so far. So this message, you're in a busy area. If you're in a busy area and that shows up, that is probably true. But if you continue to drive into what you really know is not a busy area because of your experience. So, okay, here's one. McDonald's. Okay, well, that's pretty far away. I'm going to decline that. I'm going to decline it by hitting the button up here. Decline. Because that was bringing me back far north side. I want to kind of stay central or head south to stay in the 1.4 multiplier area. And I was going to tell you more about the boundaries of this multiplier area. So here's 1.4, which is this area here. And if you're on the fringe, like if you know, like if there's a bunch of restaurants over here, like here, you have to really know your area and exactly where these restaurants land, because you might be along here on this frontage road and you know that there's, like, here's this Twin Peaks. Like, there's restaurants all around here, and if a call comes in, it says, "Oh, Saltgrass," or Outback Steakhouse. Well, you got to know that Outback Steakhouse is actually right over here, and it's outside of that zone, and you got to decide, am I willing to take the Outback Steakhouse now that's only 1.3 multiplier, or should I decline it and hope to get a restaurant that's in the 1.4 zone? So once you get in an area that's near a boundary, I mean, obviously, if you're not normally in that area and you don't know it, it's hard to study it. But if it's a place you happen to deliver frequently, it behooves you to learn the restaurants and which side of the boundary it's on. If they get kind of tricky on you here, see how it's kind of all just hit and miss. I mean, you just have to really know your stuff and know where the restaurant lands. And I think that Saltgrass tricked me one night because I didn't know, and I don't know if I would have taken it or not, but it's outside that better zone. It's still good. 1.3 is not bad. It's just that, you need to know what you're choosing when the calls come in. And so there's like Boomer Jacks and Razoo's. They're outside that zone. So anyway, I thought I'd mention that. So that guy who came out to meet me, that was really nice of him to do that. He could have just been staying in his apartment talking to me and trying to help me figure out how to walk to him, but that was really, really nice of him to do that. That's really helpful. And this is where my sign came in. So there's a bunch of cars whizzing by the place where he happened to be stepping out to on the street, and I just said, "Hey, I'll be the car with a bright LED sign in the windshield." And he's like, "Okay." And then I think 4 cars ahead of me zipped by, and then he said, "Oh yeah, I see you in the distance." And then, it was perfect. It's just a nice, easy pickup when you have that extra light to tell somebody. Even that cheap yellow cup thing I showed you before, that's worked for me in the past. I just say, "Hey, I got a yellow dome light in the windshield," and people instantly can identify you compared to the other cars. So it's very helpful. And then when I'm driving at night, I usually turn this off. So it's like that. And then when I need it, then I light it up either when I'm in the food line at the restaurant to pick up, like at the drive-thru, the employees there will recognize me easier that I'm the Uber order that just is in the lineup. And then they know not to ask me, hey, which order are you? Then they just know, and it's very helpful again. Okay, so it's getting late now. It's 10:39, and there's this magic hour at night that, as the popular sit-down types of restaurants start closing, people start flocking to the places that are still open. So the places that are open 10 to 11 and then 11 to 12, they start getting a little kind of a busy hour. And so those restaurants will kind of jam up a little bit. So just be aware that, if you accept if it's 11:05 and you accept a McDonald's order, that when you arrive at that McDonald's, don't be surprised if there's 12 to 20 cars in line, because everyone's piling in there because there's no other places to eat. So that's another little strategy to maybe, make you think through, experience it, and then, decide like, oh, well, this hour really makes me want to end my night. I don't want to take, a $4-ish, $5-ish order that might have a tip on it, but it's initially a $4 or $5 order that I might get stuck in a 12-car lineup. And, you can always play it by ear. You can always accept the delivery, and then once you get to the restaurant, you can just, report that you don't want to do it, and the reason is because of too long of wait time. That's one of the options. So that's always your prerogative, and you just have wasted a little bit of your time and a little bit of driving distance to go learn that and figure it out. And I'm still kind of working to try to optimize my knowledge on which, there's certain Jack in the Boxes that don't even do Uber, and some do, and some quit at certain hours, and some get real busy, and it's just a pain to get to them and get that delivery picked up. So it just takes time to learn all the nuances of each individual restaurant, and how your experience is going to be, and whether you want to handle that delivery. Okay, so a call just came in for Old South Pancake House. It just happens to be 4 blocks from my current path straight ahead. So I'm heading right to there and pick up, and then it'll probably be I think it's about a 5-mile delivery. So that'll be a nice delivery. Oh, here's another one. Okay, now this is like a dual. I'll take it, and I'll have to go do that delivery next after my Old South drop-off. I don't think they'll have me pick it up on the way, but I'll just have to see how that plays out, because I'm too busy driving right now to really analyze what is going on. Okay, so when I walked in there, it was immediately ready, and I was out the door in like under a minute with that order. So, great pickup. And I got it loaded right down here. And what I usually do when I might have dual orders is alphabetically, I'll put the first letter of the alphabet will be out the door first. That's my mentality. So this order is closest to the door. The next order that comes in will be sitting here if I have them dual at the same time. I'm not sure about that yet. Okay, next pickup. So they are going to have me pick it up on the way to deliver the Old South Pancake House order. So I'll just run down University to the TCU area, right off of Berry there, and Parati's Pizza. I know exactly where that is, and I'll pick up that pizza order. And just to let you know, the order that I pick it up, so I picked up the pancake order first, pizza order second. That has nothing to do with the drop-off order. It may or may not be the same. It's based on distancing and some other rules they might have where I may deliver the pizza first or second. So it's whatever they tell me to do, that's what I do, and it usually is optimal. Okay, so the pizza was easy to pick up. It was ready and waiting. So Thumbs up. I got it. Start the delivery. And we're gonna do which one first? The pancake order. If you ever get confused about a dual order, just scroll up and hit the dot 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 menu, and it'll tell you what it is that they ordered. Help remind you. And I decided to let the pizza ride on the seat because it was an 8-inch pizza, not a big box. If it was big or multiple boxes, then I would have set it in the trunk. Okay, now I'm almost to the first drop off, and I'll show you what this menu button here does. I mentioned it before. It's your queue, and you'll see here it'll show you the order of upcoming activities you're working on. So dropping off the Ariana delivery, then dropping off the Sartavius order. So that's your queue. Okay, so dropped off that Pancake House order and now headed to the final destination with the pizza order, and it's only another mile past that other drop off. So very efficient on Uber's part, and I love it. It's great. Okay, so I got here and it's an apartment complex, and Uber wants me, or the Google Maps wants me to go in here, but as I swing around here, you'll see this is like a closed gate that's kind of like fire entrance, fire personnel, emergency entrance only. So I had to relook at the map and see that around the corner is another entrance to the apartment complex, and it actually looked like the main entrance because it kind of had a double driveway going into the apartment complex, which is kind of the clue. So anytime you get to an apartment complex, I want to say 20% of the time the Uber Google Maps will tell you the wrong way to get into there. Especially at night, it'll be more likely that you can't. Daytime, sometimes the management tends to open up the gates, so it just depends. So here we see the main entrance with dual driveways for in and out, and I've been in here before, so this has a guard gate and I know the routine here. Okay, so this guard has to queue everybody through, and he wanted to get my name and my plates and everything, model and make a car, and then he waves me on through. And once you get into an apartment complex, the maps are usually pretty good about getting you to the proximity of the actual drop-off point. Sometimes it'll be confused because it'll put you at the main address, which is the main leasing office, and that's kind of obvious when it's telling you to drop off there that it's not the right place. But in general, you can usually just wiggle around on the map and it'll get you pretty close. Okay, so I passed by the building first to figure out the exact addressing, and I came back, parked, and as I was walking out of my car, he was just walking out of his apartment to come and grab it. So that was pretty easy. So easy and delivered. And I already accepted the next delivery at this Mexican eatery off of Hemp Hill in Seminary. That's where I'm headed next. Okay, so I got here and it turns out to be a double order, so that's good. So good pickup. Both are down here. And we got Ethan and Roberto. Start delivery. Okay, they're both pretty let's see, that one's a little farther out. Okay, first one's close. Okay, so that one dropped off perfectly onto the front porch, and now I'm on to the final of the two orders in about 7 miles. And if I want to see where I'm doing on money, I can just scroll down here, and about to hit $100. Okay, so just dropped that off. It was a nice residential neighborhood, and the guy just walked out the driveway and grabbed it out of my window, and now I'm accepted another call for Parati's Pizza. Okay, so with this pizza, it's showing me to hit the freeway, go all the way down south, and then all the way up north, and I think there's a better route. So I'm gonna just punch in my car nav and see some options here. and these alternate routes are a few minutes slower, but I want the shortest path in 2 minutes. I don't really care about 2 minutes, so I want that one. So it's saying 17 minutes instead of 15 minutes, but with no traffic at this time of night, I'll make up that time. And because of the way I was able to get out of the parking lot immediately onto the highway ramp, it dropped me already to 14 minutes, so pretty good. Okay, I dropped off that pizza, and right before I approached those few blocks, another call came in for a Jack in the Box pickup. So we'll take care of that one, and let's see where we're at here. $117. Not bad. And I was going to talk about the number of hours you can drive. So it's midnight, and if you want to work a really hard weekend, like long hours, there's really practically no limit to it, but I mean there is a 12-hour limit per day. So that is actually the driving hours is that limit. So if you take breaks throughout the day, 1 hour here, 30 minutes there, those don't, whenever you go offline, that doesn't count towards your 12-hour maximum. And if you want to see where you're at in any given day, okay, so I just arrived at this Jack in the Box, and all the lights are turned off, and like the cleaning guy is at the door doing stuff, so it's closed. I'm not even going to try to knock on the door and ask him if he's open, because it's just everything's turned off. So what I have to do is tell this guy, so sorry. So I'm not going to give an opinion here. It's a thumbs down, but I can't select it. So I have to go to this menu and have to say report issue and tell it the restaurant was closed here. Restaurant is closed. Cancel it. So there's the first cancel of tonight. Okay, it's from the bottom end. Okay, another one's coming in. Donuts right on 7. But that's delivering about 10 miles north. I don't want to go to the north side, unfortunately. I'm going to go ahead and decline that. And back to this topic, pulling up, and you can see your driving time here. And it'll tell you how much you have left. So I've driven, whatever that math is, 7, 8, about almost 5 hours. And once you go offline, as long as you have 6 hours in a row that you don't go back online, it'll reset back to giving you another 12 hours that you could go online. So, and again, it'll tell you all that stuff right here. If you're ever confused, just go to the up from the bottom menu, pull it up, and see driving time, and it'll give you all the stats. Okay, so there's my summary so far. I could quit now, but what I'll do is I'll just leave it online, and I'll drift towards the house, and if I get home, I'll just close it on out, and that's not bad for 5-ish hours. And the summary's here. I'm still waiting on 2 tips to come in for today, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 deliveries over $10, and one at just about 10. It'll be 10 by the time they add a tip to that. So really it's only one delivery that was under $10. So that's not bad. So one trick to working late is that over time you're going to learn, as the night goes on and more places shut down, that obviously means there's fewer places that are actually serving food. So you get past midnight, and there's only so many places that are open serving food. Some places shut down at 12, some at 2, some go to 4, and some are 24 hours. So over time you'll learn what those are, and then what you can do is, once you drop off your food and you still want to keep working, you should drift towards those spots in hopes to get an order. And you might learn that, like, there's this one right near TCU. It's called Fat Shack, and that thing, I don't know what time it closes. I think it's somewhere around 3 or 4 a.m. and we'll get a lot of orders from there. And right across the street from there is Taco Bell. It's open 24 hours, and there's that. So I'll do that. So over time, you'll learn the places, depending on the hour of the night, the places you should try to drift towards to get that order locked in. Because if you're not headed that way and even going there and parking in front of it to wait for the next order, then the next Uber driver who's still delivering late night, they'll beat you to it, or the Uber system will pick them over you just because they're closer. And I've even seen some drivers, not necessarily Uber drivers, but food delivery drivers, just hang out at those 24-hour places. Like if they don't have they just drive immediately right back to them, and they just park right in front, and they just wait for the next order. And that's what they do. And there's another story here. Like at this Taco Bell I'm going to, it's very odd. It's it's like the manager told the employees that I don't care what people say, the Uber drivers have to walk into the restaurant. Yet I'll show up there. One time I showed up there at like 4 a.m. And of course, there's nobody else in town that's even awake, let alone driving on the road. And yeah, there's a car pulling in there maybe once every 15, 20 minutes. Anyway, so I pull in the parking lot, and it's a ghost town. Nobody's there, nobody's inside. I mean, the workers are in there. And so I pull through the drive-thru, and I tell them it's an Uber order to pick up. And they're kind of like snooty. They're like, okay, please pull forward and come on in. Park and come on in. It's like, why? Am I blocking somebody? I mean, I'm not. And so I go inside, and the order's sitting there right on the shelf, right next to the pickup window. Like they could have just handed it to me through the window, and yet I walk in, and they ignore me. There's like 3 people that pass by me that, doing stuff, and they're ignoring me. 2 minutes later, it's like somebody finally just walks up and says, okay, can I help you? Like, oh, surprise, who are you? Well, yeah, I'm the guy, you with the headset on, asking me the question. I'm the guy who said I'm the Uber order to pick up at the window, and you shot me down. So anyway, it's kind of weird sometimes. It kind of pisses me off. I have to, again, just, having to park your car, shut it down, climb out of your car, go inside. I mean, that's fine if you've been sitting a long time and you want to get a little leg exercise, but just the protocol for that is just so messed up. Anyway, so I'm not even going to go through the drive-thru here. It's just, so what I do is I just park right here. I just park right in the front, not even a parking place, and I just walk up these railings and go right in there and just try to get my order. Okay, so I grabbed that party pack. Very easy this time. Start the delivery. I gotta go way up north. I mean, relative to where I am, but still central Fort Worth. And should be no problem. Okay, so I have not been really showing you the actual drop-off process. And I really, with this whole coronavirus thing, it's all set up to basically just leave it at the door and run away. And you're not supposed to meet and greet people at all, say nice things to them. Now, if they show up at the door at the time you're walking up, and I'm all friendly and thank you, and I got my mask on and everything's cordial and fine. But the way the system is designed, it's in all the instructions, it's all like, leave at doorstep, run away kind of mentality. And sometimes you'll see a note about, ringing the doorbell or don't ring the doorbell. As a general rule, I ring the doorbell unless they tell me not to. I ring the doorbell, usually up till 10:30 at night, and then after 10:30, I don't ring the doorbell unless they tell me to ring the doorbell. So that's what I do for the drop-off, and sometimes there'll be specific instructions about, leave it on the chair, leave it on the porch table, leave it on the wall next to the porch. and just make sure you read the notes before you hop out of your car, and it'll tell you what to do, and it works out pretty well. Okay, so that was a done delivery, and I had another one came in, and it's right nearby. It's kind of sending me an area I don't want to go to because it's a little bit too far north and west. I'm going to go ahead and decline that. Even though I'm close to the pickup, I just want to head more south towards my house. Anyway, that last one, it was an apartment building, and the guy did not have an entry code listed, and he did not have the apartment number. So I just texted him and said, hey, I'm almost there. Do I need to know an apartment number or a gate code to get in? And he said, I'll just meet you outside, and it was perfect handoff. Okay, I took one more order for a very short run, just a $3 run, just because I was passing by this Fat Shack on Berry Street, and we'll do that and then call it a night. Okay, the order was already ready, so just took a minute to grab it and start, and we're going to drive not even a mile for $3. Not bad. Okay, so I just dropped that off, and at this right before then, another order came in for the same Fat Shack location. But of course, it wasn't telling me where it was going to be delivered to because I was on a drive. So now I'm going to look at it and see where I'm headed. And I can't see it because it won't give you the address until you say you pick it up. Okay, I'm going to cancel this because it told me 7 miles, and I don't know in what direction the 7 miles is, unfortunately. So it's not showing me like a kind of a ghost blue line of where I'm headed. So I don't know. I want to head south, and it's probably not going to be south. Most of these orders, for some reason, typically head north. So I'm going to cancel it. I think here, ... report an issue. And I'm just going to say I didn't want to do the delivery. So that's it. It's pretty simple. Okay, now here's Topper's Pizza. Oh, shoot. I accidentally hit it. And let me show you what... I didn't want to go north. That was a northern order. And so I'm just going to have to tell it again. Report issue. Don't want to do the delivery. Yes, cancel it. Now, it's going to ask me. If I cancel 2 things in a row, it's going to ask me, and I'll say, no, stay offline. Now, it already put me offline before it asked me the question. And the reason for that is because you got about 4,000 to 5,000 Uber drivers around this area. I mean, the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So, with that many phones being used, the chances of having a small percentage of people with currently a bad phone, like the battery just died or something went wrong with the OS and they're rebooting it. So they decided about a year ago that if 2 attempts at contacting somebody messes up, then they put you offline until you have a positive response that you're able to go online. And that way they can automatically shut down connectivity to the phones that maybe are dead and lost their cell connection or the battery went dead or whatever. So that's why they ask that now, and it's really helpful because it just benefits all the drivers who are really doing deliveries versus somebody who's having trouble with their phone. So it's a really nice feature. Anyway, so now I'm offline, and now I'll just drive home. Okay, so I went back online as I got closer to the house just to see if something would show up that was easy, and this $6 deal showed up that was basically drive to Jack in the Box, pick up the breakfast sandwich and a Diet Coke, and drive it across the street. So I'm going to do that. And very nice, there's only 3 cars in line, so this should be a quick pickup. Should be. Got an Uber pickup for Samuel.
Look to the window.
Okay, got 3 cars in line. It's now 1:11. So let's see how many minutes it takes. Okay, so that was 5 minutes to pick that up. It's now 1:16, and we will say good pickup and start delivery. And we're going, well, around the mall, and we're going 1 mile, but I'm going to go the other way around the mall, so it'll be shorter. Okay, so I just dropped that one off. After I did the mileage, it was actually a half a mile for that $3 plus the potential for a tip. The guy was in an apartment. He was right inside the very first gate, and he had perfect instructions, and I had actually delivered it to him before, so when I reread the instructions, I knew exactly what he was talking about. And very helpful, very good instructions. And I took another call only because I knew the address of a Taco Bell down near my house, and the only thing I'm not sure about is how far away that I'm going to be delivering. It's possible I could be getting even closer to my house, or I could be being pulled farther away from my house. But either way, I'll be happy because I'll be, as you see here, 4 miles closer to my house from where I am now. So even if I have to drive 4 miles away from my house, I'll be happy. And I can't remember the price that this one was going to be, but I think it was pushing $6-ish plus whatever tip happens. So this is good that I'm being paid to drive to my final leg to get home. Okay, I just picked up the order, and here's the moment of truth. Let's see where we're going. And it's perfect. It's getting me within a mile of my house. Perfect. And here comes another call, and I'm not sure where that's going to take me, but I'm going to decline. And then I'm going to tell the system I'm done for the night. Stop new requests. That gets added to the queue. And we can finish this delivery. Okay, back home now, and here's my final number, 146, but we still have 1, 2, 3, 4 tips that haven't come in. So let's just call it who knows, maybe $10. So 15 trips, $156. It's not bad. And don't forget to log your mileage. So I ended here 59,084, and I logged it in my Excel spreadsheet right here. Ending mileage there, and there I did 128 miles and made $156. So that's excellent. What else do we want to see here? So if you want to work long hours on the weekend, let me show you what you can get accomplished. Like last weekend, let me show you some numbers here. So check out this. On a Sunday, I made $365. And that same Saturday, $266. So how much did I make? And the other days I just drove a little bit each day to help those numbers out. So there's 1 week. Make $1,000 a week with just not a lot of effort. I mean, you're putting time in. It's not that hard. 42 hours. You put in some long weekends on a few extra hours during the week. Take off a day. It's nice. You can make $4 grand a month. 40 hours a week.